Oh, no. We're starting here? Okay. From the very beginning, I've always made a statement. Not everyone appreciated that.
That's unfortunate.
But I wasn't for everyone. Speaking of statements, here's one. That necklace is the reason I'm dead. But I'm getting ahead of myself. From an early age, I realized I saw the world differently than everyone else.
Look.
Well, that's not the pattern. You have to follow the pattern. There's a way of doing things.
That's ugly.
Including my mother.
That's cool. Her name's Estella, not Cruella.
It wasn't her I was challenging. It was the world.
Hi, welcome to the Night Before podcast, where my husband and I discuss the movie we watched the night before. We usually show up at a brewery or a tea shop or coffee shop somewhere, but today we are at a special place. We are at the Safety Harbor Resort and Spa. We are kind of hanging out here just for the day.
We've been here a couple hours.
We've been here a couple hours.
We're poolside.
Hanging by the pool. We are poolside. It's summertime. And
the current degrees temperature is hot.
it's like 100 degrees. Honestly.
Might as well be.
Almost. And we...
No, you know what? I think we need to change our intro a bit because we always say, at a brewery or a coffee shop. But lately,
we could really be anywhere.
We've been everywhere. We've been at spas. Last time we were at our porch.
Yeah.
Front porch. Then we were at, before that we were at Casadega Spiritualist Camp.
So it started out that we would pop up at a brewery or
We
local...
seem like pretty interesting people.
I mean... But now we basically do it anywhere we go the next day after we watch a movie. So
yeah, we go somewhere.
today,
And I'll admit, I guess it's being honest. We don't plan it, but we definitely try to plan to be kind of fun places. And then we say, oh, this will be really cool to podcast from.
Yeah.
Like right now we're sitting outside beside, I'm going to call it the secret pool.
The secret pool. We found a quieter pool.
Safety Harbor, Florida Spa and Resort.
So Safety Harbor Resort and Spa in Florida.
With microphones.
In Safety Harbor, Florida it's a pretty famous resort and spa. It's beautiful. It is on the bay, and it is...
Safety Harbor's near Tampa Bay, Clearwater, St. Petersburg.
yeah.
Well, for the folks who don't know.
But we went to the first pool earlier, and it was a madhouse.
So they have it's
literally.
called the leisure pool.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's what it's called. And it's packed. There wasn't a spot anywhere to sit. It's technically kind of open to the public one way or another.
Kinda. I don't think that's right.
You can easily wander
I think
into
you're
the pool.
supposed to be staying here. But
Yeah. But then throughout the spa area, which we do have.
we have day passes.
We have a spa day pass. And
so you can use the spa amenities like the jacuzzi,
they got all kinds of stuff.
all kinds of stuff. It's
So-
a great secret kind of thing if you're in this area.
Well, so secret
to
pool,
do.
they have
In
this
the
separate
back.
area that's like a lap pool.
Yes.
And it's just a long, narrow, rectangular pool. It's meant for practicing your laps, exercising.
Mm-hmm.
But really, this is just where all the spa folks hang out. There's like 10 of us here
And they're
versus
much
the
more
like
interesting
50 or
people
60 people that were at the
than
leisure
the
pool.
people that are at the leisure pool.
No one's swimming laps.
And no one's getting to know each other because there's too many people.
Well, here people are.
Yeah, here
We've chatted
they
up with
are.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we chat up with everybody
So
and
this
then
is more our scene.
we get back to our beach recliners and whip out our microphones like it's common
like it's
practice.
normal to have a microphone.
And now we're just speaking into microphones in front of people for the Night Before podcast.
So we usually talk about our drink. Now we
they're
secretly...
they're in a spa. So yeah, two pro tips for the
Two pro tips.
for
if
the
you
Safety
come
Harbor
here.
Spa and Resort. Number one, get the spa day pass. Go to the lap pool. A little more secluded. Private party, VIP status.
And there's no bar out here, but even
And then
if
there's
you
no
are
bar.
at the leisure pool, you're going to get
So
a
pack your bar.
$12 drink that's weak.
Mm-hmm.
So weak. So,
But this is kind of a common theme for us at this point of us kind of making our own homemade cocktails.
Yeah.
We did it in Casadega, we did it on our front porch, and now we're doing it
We
here
did.
at the spa.
so we brought our,
It's pretty much the same drink that we've been drinking these last few weeks, but we've upped the ante.
we added our own vodka to our cut water,
I call them cutthroats, but
and
they're
we
cut
add a little
water.
lime juice and some mint.
Yeah, we brought some fresh mint from the garden, a
Last
neighbor's
night
garden,
I added some ginger, which was amazing.
and we
But
got
we didn't do that today.
some lime juice. And we just brought a cooler, some cut waters, which is just vodka and grapefruit in a can.
And then we added more vodka.
We brought some extra vodka, wino style, in a Zephyr Hills water bottle. That's what winos do.
Because
And-
unless you want to spend, $50 to $80 on drinks sitting out by the pool, nobody wants
But we also
to
knew
do
we'd be
that.
poolside, and we just brought our
Kind
you
of
know,
like a Yeti.
they're not your
type
Yetis
thing.
or your Turvis tumblers, but somewhere in that
Type
ballpark.
thing, yeah.
Happy marriage. We did that, and we've just been hanging out at the pool, been reading some books, getting
Mm-hmm.
some sun, swimming some laps.
What are you reading?
I'm reading a book called by John Brandon called A Million Heavens. It's just about
It looks
by
interesting.
McSweeney's Press. It's about a young boy who's in a coma, and everybody kind of holding a visual outside of that hospital.
Okay. I'm in the middle of a couple of different books. I'm reading the spiritualist book about Casadega.
Casadega. Check out the Casadega episode number
I'm
10.
starting to read a short story book that I bought a long time ago called The Heaven of Animals by David James Passant. Short stories. And I am reading Grown and Flown because I have a lot of teens growing
Yeah,
up
it's
in our
about dealing with
house.
teenagers.
And that's it.
Helpful
those
advice.
three, I'm kind of intermingling those three.
So this episode we're also going to do something special for this episode. It's we're talking 2 movies, but in one episode. So we're at the spa. In a little bit, we're going to pack things up at the spa and head into downtown Safety Harbor proper. The spa is in downtown, so it's walking distance.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
but we're going
pull
to get
up-
her off the pool. We're going to maybe take a shower.
Yeah, because we can take showers at the spa.
We can.
We're going to pull up a stool somewhere and probably get a cold craft
Beer.
beverage and talk our second movie. So we're going to do it like
So we did 2 movies yesterday.
locations,
which
one spot,
was
yeah.
a treat.
Mhm.
Really was. It's a treat when we can watch. We actually watched 3 full movies, but we're going to talk about 2.
Yeah. So we kind of
Today.
say, we don't ever get to watch many, but the track record is, yeah, we do.
We have.
Because we did The Killing of Two Lovers, The Some Kind of Heaven, and the Woman in the Window triple feature 2-part episode. But this one we're going to talk Cruella. We saw that in the theater yesterday.
We took our kids, all 4. boys,
Everybody, a small financial investment in movies.
But we went to the matinee,
never cheap.
so it was half the price.
It's still expensive, but yes.
Still expensive.
Still like, wow. Take out a
6
second
people going to the
Take out
movie.
a second mortgage to go to the movies.
It's like a fancy dinner.
And then we came home and we watched the Miranda July film Kajillionaire.
Kajillionaire. So we're going to talk about Cruella, and then we're going to talk about Kajillionaire
Yeah.
today.
We're doing Cruella here, and then we're going to pause. You won't notice much, but we're going to pause it and then clean ourselves up a bit and go to the brewery and talk Kajillionaire. So let's jump in. But funny, we didn't mean to this. It wasn't planned. But we're kind of talking 2 heist movies.
Yes.
You know,
Well, actually, you know what? It's funny. It
criminal
won't-
mastermind heist movies back
True.
to back.
True, that's a similarity.
Cruella and Kajillionaire.
Do you know what else is
kinda
a
heist
similarity
movies.
between them?
What?
The mommy issues.
Oh, they both are about. Yeah, well, they're like
They both have
mother-daughter,
mommy issues.
mother-daughter, or just daughter-parents issues. Yeah,
Daughter, parent, daughter, mommy, too.
it's all about.
especially.
They're
Yeah.
both about parent abandonment and feeling loved and
Neglect.
accepted.
Neglect. Being
Tender,
loved.
tender feelings, to quote
Because
Kajillionaire.
mommy and daughter relationships are tough.
This is the mommy-daughter
It
issue.
really is. And we didn't intend it to be that, but it is what it is.
No,
and
we
I
came
had not
home-
mentioned that to you.
It's funny. I was thinking like, hey, obviously I picked up on the the child-parent issues in both films, especially Kajillionaire. But I was thinking, oh, that's funny. These are both kind of crime heist movies as well.
But they're also both mommy-daughter, mommy-parent issue movies as well.
That's right.
Big time. So they're actually a match made in heaven,
That's
even
true. We
though
didn't
no
even
one
intend it.
would ever put those
We
two
just
movies
came
together.
home from the theater. We had
Ate some dinner.
decided we knew a spa day in Safety Harbor, Florida was on our horizon. So we said, you know what?
A fun day. Saturday
Let's just
fun
kick
day.
it easy. Let's rest and relax. We'll just eat some leftover foods and we'll watch a movie. And it was, oh, hey, Kajillionaire is on HBO Max right now. Let's watch Kajillionaire.
Because it's been on our radar for a while.
It'd been on our radar. We
Yeah.
haven't seen any other Miranda July films, which we'll talk about her later. She has a certain style, quirky, artistic movie style, which you can see Kajillionaire. But it also
Which,
been
of
on our
course,
radar.
I love that style.
You like that style?
I do.
like it
love
too.
it. I love it.
But it kind of come on our radar too because of Richard Jenkins, who was in that other movie we saw recently, The Last Shift,
Yeah.
about race relations and
He
kind of a
was
small town
wonderful
working
in that movie, and he was wonderful in this movie too.
He
Even
is.
though
We'll
we're
talk
not talking about it
we'll
yet.
talk. I mean,
but-
it seems to be like Cruella. We're not even thinking about Kajillionaire is all that's on our mind.
Kajillionaire is definitely top on my mind, but I'm thinking about Cruella. Do you want to switch it?
Well, we're supposed to be talking about.
Okay, so let's talk about Cruella first.
We're already halfway into our halfway time, and we haven't even talked about.
Okay, so let's talk about Cruella. Cruella, we took the kids. One thing I loved as a mom, I loved about the movie was that I could take my 8-year-old and my 17-year-old, and they were both interested. Although I think my 17 and 14-year-olds liked it more than the 8-year-old.
No, the 8-year-old's response was, I kind of liked it, and I kind of didn't like it.
I think it was
his
maybe a
response.
little bit too intense for him, too much, you know, for the 8-year-old to really like absorb and understand. At least our 8-year-old.
But
all
we say
8-year-olds
that
are different.
We say that, and we think about our last movie, Stand By Me. And one thing we didn't talk about Stand By Me in our last episode, which is a crossover with the Greatest Movies of All Time podcast.
Yes, that was
episode.
fun.
It was a
That
kind
was
of
so fun.
spectacular episode. Check it out if you didn't see it. We didn't talk about this with Stand By Me, but I do miss that sort of darker. Cruella is a dark movie, like
Very dark.
aesthetically, but also tonally. But I miss that dark element in children's films, or not.
I
Not
think
the
the
Cruella's.
last really dark children's
In modern film, you don't see much dark and edginess like we used to. Like in the 80s, think about it. Legend, The Never-Ending Story, Goonies. I mean, Goonies, the central plot of Goonies is they're on this adventure because all of their houses are being foreclosed.
Well,
and they're being moved out of their land by
That's what
like
I'm
a corporate bank
no,
takeover.
that you didn't see like realistic problems, and I think it might have hit too close to too real for an 8-year-old. But
I know, but back then there was a seriousness, a layer of reality in a lot of films that appealed to adults and children.
Yeah.
Back then, that seems to be missing a bit more in modern young adult cinema.
But was present maybe in Coraline? That was just
A little bit in
it was
Coraline,
scary.
yeah,
It wasn't necessarily real.
but that's also not a huge mainstream film.
yeah.
Where like, you know, even watching our trailers,
This
right? You see
was
like G.I. Joe movies and Marvel movies, and even like
Emotional
Jungle
and-
Cruise. Like you see all these films, and they're like, oh, this is just spectacle.
Yeah. This
Where
was
Cruella
emotional and real.
had some deep, dark stuff in it. I mean, this could have been, if they pushed it a little harder, this could have been an R-rated film.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I think he was a little like perplexed by it.
But I think that, my point is, I think
But
that's
that's okay.
good.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think-
good thing.
I
We're
think
not
we
like,
grew
we
up-
shouldn't have taken him.
Again, we grew up in a world where a horse, you know, a main character's only friend and companion is a horse, and it drowns in a swamp
I know.
because it is simply sad,
So the first,
right?
yeah, in jumping to the first aspect of this movie, which I kind of glanced at the 8-year-old and was like, I keep calling him the 8-year-old. His name's Ira.
Yeah.
I keep glancing at him. Is the like, the girl's Cruella. Her mom just is pushed off a cliff and falls to her death right
That's
in
very
front of
like
her.
opening of the movie. Yeah.
And that's the opening. It's towards the beginning of the movie, and it's like, that was traumatic and sad and terrible. It wasn't, cookie coated or anything. It was just very awful.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that scene was as harsh for young kids
did.
as later in the film
I did. I was
where they're
little.
burning down a house, the apartment, with Cruella and all them in it.
Oh yeah, that was.
I thought that was a lot.
Was
That was
it?
the only part where I was like, "Ooh, this is a little treacherous."
Really, that was the only part. I thought there was a lot of parts.
No, I mean, I thought there were minor things, but that was the only thing of like, "Ooh, this would be hard to swallow as an 8-year-old." But then I flashed back to my own childhood.
Well, of course.
And I said,
again, we
I
weren't
saw-
like trying to shield him from it because we feel movies like that.
Well, that's
we've
what I mean. I think
seen,
it's
and
like I said, I watched The
it's
Neverending
fine,
Story. It's
and
6
we
years
have
old.
conversations about real things with him, and
I think those
it's
help.
not.
So that's
it's
my first
okay.
point about Cruella. My thing is like props to Disney for taking a pretty. I have no hate against 101 Dalmatians.
No,
In fact, I have
like it more now.
well, I have positive memories of the cartoon. I never saw the Glenn Close.
I don't know if I did
Live
either.
action movie.
I don't think I did either.
But the original cartoon, I had pleasant memories of it. It's still that kind of older style animation from Disney, pre-Lion King and Aladdin era, right? It's a little more, it's like dirty or dingy animation style. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, I
But-
saw the animation. Yeah.
Yeah, you know
saw
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that kind of rough around the edges
Yes.
animation
Yes.
than
I saw that.
what they have now, or what they went into in the 90s. But when I first heard about like Cruella being a movie and Emma Stone starring in it, I was like, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be dumb.
Well, I didn't because I think Emma Stone is great in
Mm-hmm.
most of the stuff she does. And B, 101 Dalmatians is long enough ago. Like, none of our kids remember seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Well, though they all were like, but all of them were like, well, where's the 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah, and we explained that it was a prequel, but they were there, but they weren't because they had really never seen 101
That's true,
Dalmatians.
too. That's true, too.
We kind of had to explain that Cruella was part of 101
That's the thing about the
Dalmatians.
movie, since it hasn't ever
And I
been.
think that's a strength of the movie, that it's been long enough.
I agree. It's kind of like a distant memory. You know, even young kids know the concept of 101 Dalmatians.
but they don't fully understand it.
They don't understand. I mean, but I even vaguely remember 101
So going
Dalmatians.
into Cruella is like a brand new movie. It's
Yeah,
not.
my one thought was almost like, I mean, I know you got to sell movie tickets in a film that cost over $100 million to make. You got to have something to get people there. But one of my thoughts was like, this didn't even have to be a 101 Dalmatians movie.
No.
Like, it didn't have to be Cruella. It could be
related.
named something else.
Yeah.
But then the draw, you get some of that background of who this person is, even though I don't
Well,
even
you
have
even
a.
get more money for 101 Dalmatians because people are going to go back and watch 101
That might be true
Dalmatians
too,
after
but like,
it.
I don't even have an idea of. I mean, I have an idea of who Cruella DeVille is, just a bad villain, woman, old woman, but that's it. But I think you're right. I think the distance of time and the fogginess of memory, but just the loose association with the property of 101 Dalmatians and the character of Cruella DeVille is enough. Like even this, I'm like, oh, that's her car. Like when they eventually showed
Yeah.
the DeVille, I'm like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, this is a lot better than I thought it would be.
I thought it was really good. I hate Disney movies. I'll be honest with you.
You
In
hate-
general,
Yeah, no, I don't enjoy
I
them.
hate Disney movies, but I'll be honest with you, since my 17-year-old said he wanted to see it, and there are not many opportunities for me to like rein him in and see it with the younger kids, I was like, let's do this, let's do this in the movie theater all together, because I wanted to take advantage of his enthusiasm about Cruella.
What had?
And it's something we could take our 8-year-old to. So I did, but I wasn't fully excited about it. But I loved Emma Stone played the character phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this.
She's great.
I mean, I want to say, I do want to say, acknowledge she was really good.
Really
But I was
good.
thinking with the thought.
Is that your only really good?
She was really good. But Emma Stone is always good. But she's always a bit Emma Stone, right?
Yeah.
And I felt she was really good in this. I don't know if I would go as far as phenomenal. I felt
really
this.
loved her
I
in
felt
this character.
this. That's my point. I think this character and this role fit her personality and acting style. Like where I don't think she was phenomenal in the fact of like, oh my gosh, Emma Stone transformed herself into Cruella DeVille.
Oh, yeah, her personality
I
kind of
feel
fit it.
she finally found the role that fit her style perfectly. So it
Yeah,
fit
I
her
agree with
perfectly.
that.
So that's what I
Yeah,
mean. She
for
was
sure.
really good. I don't think my only point is, again, it's not a diss on Emma Stone. I don't think she had to stretch far to get there.
But it was nice how she played Stella and Cruella, like the different characters.
Estelle or whatever, Estella?
Estella or whatever. She really transformed those two characters throughout the movie.
No, she
I
did. She did a
feel.
good job of the split personalities, but it was a little funny. It's sort of like the Superman Clark Kent scenario where it's like nobody recognizes her as Cruella.
Right. She's pretty recognizable. I mean, she wasn't that unrecognizable, but
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny. Again, it's nothing to distract you from the
That's
movie,
true.
but it's Clark Kent and Superman in the old Superman movies where no one recognizes Clark Kent when he's wearing his glasses.
yeah.
But I thought
There's a
that was
couple.
little funny.
I mean, a couple points. I feel like, with Cruella, I feel like for me, the mother-daughter relationship was huge in that, seeing that I'm a woman and a daughter, that difficulty of this mother-daughter relationship was so poignant and so like real. Now it was extreme, but there was relatable aspects to it. You know, just these. Well, even with her first, like, what we come to find out as her adoptive mother.
Well, it's funny. The movie's told in 3 parts. It's told in
Yeah.
her as a very young child. It's told us her as kind of a teenager, and then her as a.
So with the adoptive mother, I
And then
felt
her as an adult.
I loved that, back and forth, that relationship, because Cruella is so kind of an unlikable kid and she causes so many problems, but the mom is just willing to, pick up, keep going, whatever, because you do what you have to do for your kids, right? And you don't know at that point that it's not her real daughter, but she is raising it like her real daughter. And I loved that relationship. I don't know who that actress was, but I really liked her. She had a really likable character. But then with the Cruella and the
Baroness.
Baroness, it's such a just mother-daughter like toxicity.
Well, it's funny you say toxicity. I
Ugh.
was watching this. I'm like, man, toxicity in the workplace. Like, like
What do
it's
you
kind of like
mean?
modern lens of
Yeah.
just like bosses treating workers.
True.
I know it's supposed to be over the top and on that, but it was a little like
Oh, talking about as like a boss and
boss and employees
Employee.
and like
Yeah,
toxic
yeah,
work
yeah.
environments. You hear so much in the news now. No, but I think to your point, unlike Kajillionaire, where that's the obvious point of the film, is talking about kind of dependency
That's not the point
on
of the film.
parents and siblings or children, I mean, and those
But
relationships.
her whole
This movie had a nice, if you wanted to dig into that,
not
it's
if you
there.
wanted to dig into it. Her whole emotional
of course, well, the motivation.
her whole mental stability
Mm-hmm.
was based on her understanding who killed her mom, and then that's not who killed her mom.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that this was like she was engulfed in this,
Well, no, that's
which
what
is
I mean.
why she's become
Well,
Cruella.
This movie that we've talked about it with others, it balances various agendas well.
Yeah.
Like it says, okay, speaking of young viewers who aren't going to give it deeper thought, it juggles, okay, it's kind of a quirky movie with some comedy, the 2 grifters that she ends up living
It's a
with.
new word I learned.
Yeah, you didn't know grifters were. The 2 grifters she lives with, they're both funny and comical. especially the more heavier set guy.
It's kind of like the guys on Home Alone or something.
Yeah, the wet bandits
reminiscent of
who
that.
keep coming back.
Yeah.
Which the robbers are also in the 101 Dalmatians animation movie, correct?
Yeah. Within the van and
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're funny. So you're balancing that. You're balancing these sort of various planned heists throughout the movie.
It was a heist
So
movie.
you get
They
these
were
sort of get the plan and execute it, Ocean's 11 style thing, and that works well.
yeah.
You also have this just the it's really an origin story of Cruella. How does Cruella DeVille become Cruella DeVille?
Yes.
And you
It's
find that
definitely
out
an origin
by the
story.
end of the
it's
movie.
a prequel.
Yeah, it's just sort of like an origins. You see all this. The movie we saw in the trailer was Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. How does Snake Eyes become Snake Eyes? They even call it Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, right? So they balance that origin story of Cruella DeVille, which kind of feeds into the movie-making style of
And they also balance
of
this
Marvel
wonderful
movies.
like fashion aspect if you're into that part of it.
Well, they put it all through the
which
lens
is
of
amazing,
fashion and
which
sort of
is really amazing if you're into the fashion aspect of things. Like,
yeah. That's the wind. If you get some
great.
mic noise, we're at the pool. That's the wind blowing. We're in Florida. But so you also you get it through like an aesthetic of fashion
designers,
versus
kind of the world of fashion.
the dying kind of stale fashion of the 1970s, right? And with Cruella DeVille bringing in the more punk rock
punk rock.
stuff, because they even put, which I thought was cool. Again, what's cool about this movie? I mean, you might not know this. There's like I think it's like a Iggy and the Stooges, Iggy Pop and the Stooges song, like put right into the middle of it.
I love the soundtrack.
I Want to Be Your Dog.
In general, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, but there's
of
like
the movie.
punk rock sprinkled through it. One of the characters is sort of a David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust inspired character, who runs the kind of fashion boutique shop.
Oh yeah. I love him.
And even to the point where he has like the exact same hair as Ziggy Stardust and like the lightning bolt on the side of his eye, as well. So you have that sprinkled in, which is a good another balance.
I love that constant where her keep coming into his shop and he keep, just they're kind of intrigued by each other and become friends, and it's just this like reoccurring, repetitive constant throughout the movie.
Yes, I mean, for
I
a movie that's
a
a little long, even though there was an older couple right next to me in the movie theater, which is fun. You're in a movie theater, you get other people's reactions instead of it just at home. A couple that was probably in their 70s or 80s. The wife really seemed to enjoy it. Husband's response? Too long.
Okay, and I can attest to that. I thought
2 hours and 14 minutes.
when she walked away from the fountain,
Yeah, there's a recurring theme where she goes to the fountain in London,
towards the last
Regency Park,
2-hour mark,
and she talks to her mom.
she walks away from the fountain talking to her mom and
Like her like the spirit of her
everything.
mom. Like it's kind of her like spot.
I thought they could have ended it there. Now, I enjoyed the last 15, 20 minutes, but
That was the wrapping up loose ends.
it seemed like it could have ended there.
it
could have definitely ended there, for sure. I thought it was slightly too long. I do, honestly.
But
think
that's
that was my only, like...
And I felt that was a little bit of the trappings of modern movie
X on the
storytelling
movie.
in these sort of superhero. Like this does follow a superhero movie template.
Yeah.
And now it has to do, now Cruella has to fully become Cruella DeVille and get her revenge.
Right. Instead of, like, imagining what was to happen, they had to, like, show us how everything happened. And
And they kind of spell everything out.
I did really think at the 2-hour mark, 2 hour and 5 minute maybe mark, when she was at the fountain and kind of walked away, it seemed like a great ending there.
Internally, and that's the other layer that balances this movie well. Like to your point, it's a really good story about coming to terms, about who you are, the role of a mother, and loving a person even though there's things that you're upset about. Because that's the fountain. That's when she's talking about her mother, about issues she has with her mother, but then she also accepts and identifies her love for a mother figure. And you're like, the character has come full circle. The character
Right.
has...
Right.
Cruella has gone to a new level. She's kind of come to
because
peace.
her going into the Estella to Cruella is just like her battle between like figuring it out.
She can be her. It's herself now. But then it's like, and we have some business to take care of for the younger people in the
Who need
audience
this.
who need something, or not even younger people, just people who just want something more surface level. And want that heist.
So the last 15
adventure.
minutes is the surface level. Like, we're going to wrap this up for you in a neat little package.
Yeah, it's those. There's elements of it, and again, there's very common similarities between like parent issues and figuring out who you are. There's never magic and wizardry in it, obviously,
No, there's not.
but there's certain elements, especially in that last 15 minutes, where I'm like, am I watching a Harry Potter movie?
Yeah.
You know, like, am I watching? Like, it's so dark and cloudy in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
on some cliff next to an
Right.
ocean. It's like, is this? Those are the only parts. It felt like I was sitting at Hogsworth. Was it?
Yeah. I think if they would have ended it at the 2-hour mark, it would have been better for a lot of people. Although you're right, the youth
It would have been better
wants-
for people like us,
Yeah,
but I think the mass public
youth,
wouldn't have been
mass
happy.
Public wants things wrapped up in a package.
But it was a nice bookend at the same time. It was a nice bookend to the beginning of the film, which is also my least favorite part of the film. Like the ending for you, the beginning set up a lot of the similar things to that same location, that fancy resort area castle place.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy that either. It just felt fake and artificial. But it was all CGI anyway, you could tell. But I think overall, super surprised by Cruella.
I think it's a super great role for Emma Stone.
I think it's a super role for Emma Stone.
And I
think
loved
it's,
the one criminal guy. I thought was great.
both of them were. The chubby guy
Both
was
of them were good, but I like the Andy guy more.
Yeah, we're at the pool. We can't really
He
do our
was
research.
really like, we can't control the noise.
No, we can't do our research to look up. who
We
these
can't do
people
our
are.
research, but there is some people getting excited
No, it's
in the
fine.
pool. But the Andy guy was really good. I thought his character, he was protective over her, but not. There was never like a love relationship, which was
No, there's no
great,
artificial
I think.
romance
Yeah.
inflicted in this film,
Which I
which
think
was
is
good.
great because always an
Well,
artificial
like you
romance.
said, I went
is
through all the
put
other
in.
stuff. There's too much other stuff going on to put that in there.
Yeah.
But no, I want to wrap this up so we can get on to Kajillionaire and
yeah,
get to our
let's
next
go.
location in Safety Harbor. But I would say I think we definitely recommend it.
Definitely. And it's a movie for all ages.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's a movie for, like I said, we liked it. We took our 8-year-old, we took our 14-year-olds, we took our 17-year-old. Everybody liked it. 8-year-old probably the least, maybe. But
It skews older than
but
younger,
it was
for sure.
it skews a bit older. But we recommend it for sure.
All right, cool. We're going to pause it. We're going to lay by the pool a little bit longer. And then when we find our spot this evening, we'll
We'll
share
be back.
our opinions on Kajillionaire.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you, or whatever. Here, this should cover that. Unless you bought it in bulk, I don't know. You don't pay for... Oh, okay. You're jonesing. What? You're addicted to them. My cousin Timothy, when he was trying to kick pills, he would be fine, and then he would have this sudden wave of needing them really bad. Well, I think this is a little different because they're my parents. In what sense? What? In what sense are they your parents? What's an example? We split everything 3 ways. We have since I was little. What do you spend yours on? What? Your third. We go in on everything equally. Actually, that's another example. That makes 2 things.
We're back.
Oh, we're back?
We're back.
And now we are at, it's a couple hours later.
Couple hours.
We went and got pizza
Took showers.
at the spa. Question about the showers. Did you wear your flip-flops in the shower?
No, I did not. It's
Wow.
very clean in there.
It is clean.
It's kind of bougie.
Well, it's like, is this dorm room shower or is this spa shower?
It's spa shower. Yeah, for sure. It was nice.
But no, we
So-
cleaned up. We walked around. We got some pizza. Pizza Gregario, a favorite place of ours. But now we are pulled up. It's a little louder than the pool.
It is, yes.
We are at Troubled Waters Brewery.
In Safety Harbor, Tampa.
It's more of a small hole-in-the-wall brewery.
It is more of a dive bar brewery. I mean, it's not a complete dive bar, but it's closer to...
It's like you're also sitting in the middle of the brewery itself.
Yes, definitely. But we like this
No, we like the spot a lot. I mean,
spot. We've been coming here for a couple years now.
And you look, and it looks a
on.
little dive bar-y and a little rundown. But in this case, those are not negatives.
No, we like it.
It's a little loud. Like we're sitting literally, our nose are each of our noses.
We're in the brewery. We're in them. They are brewing beer a couple feet from
they're
us.
not a place that has those big, huge, brewery
the smaller ones.
containers, stainless steel silo things. These are much smaller, but they're like within a stone's throw of us.
I would say it's more of a local place than the other breweries.
Yeah, it's like the next step beyond like Buddy's brewing in their garage.
Yeah.
They got a small little spot.
Just step up.
Yeah, it's something else. It's good. So none of those are negatives, but it's a small spot, and it's kind of loud. Like we're little. Our noses are literally.
But we like it. Sometimes we like it that way. You know.
No, we do like it. And
it's fun.
And as the sun goes down into the evening, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But no, what I've been saying is like we're so close to one another. Our noses are literally, or almost literally, touching.
They are.
We're that close talking to one another.
I could touch your nose right now.
With my nose, and yet
If I
can barely hear you.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. So that's fun.
So if we're speaking, I feel like I'm...
And we're having a drink. I am having a mango habanero, and it's from the Troubled Waters Brewery. It's a pale ale.
You like that?
It's delicious. I've had it before. And
I'm drinking a mixture of 23 flavors. It's in a can, though. It's not on draft.
Right. It's called a Dr. Pepper.
A Dr. Pepper from the gas station next door.
Because someone has to drive eventually.
Well, I just felt we'd had a beer. we already had one round at Troubled Waters before podcasting. You're on drink number 2, and I'm in that in-between phase, and I was like, let me just grab a DP.
DP's going to do them well.
Yeah.
Call the doctor.
But.
So
that's where we're at.
I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
Kajillionaire.
Let's do it.
Oh, there was something. It's funny. You know when you have your shower thoughts? I had some thought about Cruella that I wanted to say.
I love shower thoughts.
In the shower at the spa to bring up on the Kajillionaire.
About Cruella or about Kajillionaire?
No, about Cruella. Because we talked so much about Kajillionaire during the...
We didn't talk that much about it,
we did.
but we did a little bit.
More than we anticipated. On the Cruella side of this episode, I was like, I'll bring some Cruella stuff in on the Kajillionaire side.
What is your Cruella stuff?
But sadly, I've kind of forgotten that thought.
Okay, let's move on then.
So that's annoying. But I might bring it back by the end of the episode.
Okay.
But anyway, I guess the big takeaway is I was still thinking about Cruella after our conversation.
That's awesome.
It's something.
I like it.
So, Kajillionaire.
Kajillionaire is a movie we've had on our watch list for a little while now, and I have been not 100% excited to see it.
Me neither.
Because it seemed like just a heist movie.
Well, not even that, just like quirky eccentric
heist movie.
Quirky, eccentric movie.
But we did it last night. We watched the movie last night.
Yeah, we just said, let's do it.
We did it. And I'm so happy we did because I loved this movie.
Wow.
Really loved this movie.
Wow.
I cannot say enough about it, honestly.
You can't say what?
I can't say enough.
I'm sorry, because it's so loud.
I cannot. People are excited tonight.
Yeah. About Kajillionaire, probably.
I cannot say enough about this movie.
It's funny you say that.
It's really one of the best movies I've seen in a while, honestly.
No.
I can tell you that.
I can tell
loved
you
it.
The first half of Kajillionaire really wasn't feeling it. I felt the first
I
half.
was in right away.
I felt the first half was a little too much. It reminded me
Too quirky.
quirky for the sake of being quirky, or eccentric for the sake of being eccentric. Like, and I'm all for things like that typically. But the first half, it felt a bit trying too hard, because it is a story about for those who don't know, Richard Jenkins, Deborah Winger.
Yes, and I didn't even know that was Deborah Winger until... I mean, I went through the whole movie and didn't know that was Deborah Winger, and I love Deborah Winger. Like,
Yeah, they're the mother and father of Evan Rachel Wood.
and I didn't know that was her either.
I know. Everybody except Richard Jenkins looks
different than they typically would. You might not know that's them. Yeah.
But they're a family of grifters. There's that word again.
Grifters, yeah.
Google it.
That I learned.
But basically, they just scam and scheme all day, every day to earn enough money to
Pay
get
their
by. And that's the first half really focuses on just that aspect of their life. They're not paying their bills. They're in debt.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant about some of it being too quirky.
Yeah,
Like,
some of their emotions and
their
whatnot are like
emotions.
overly quirky. And
Yeah, the
whatever.
Evan Rachel Wood character does these like weird spastic movements when she's like robbing the post office P.O.
And
boxes.
she's so quirky, but as you get to know the movie, you're like, but of course she's that quirky because she is unsocialized.
Yeah, and you learn that as you go.
You know, she is completely unsocialized from life. So what would you expect someone to be?
Well, it's kind of like parents who raise you in a like bomb shelter or something, right? Like you're
Yeah.
locked off from society, even though they're members of society and interact with society. She's raised by her two parents, and now she's in her 20s to function outside of reality of society and not do what people do.
Right, right.
Like not get into the materialism and
into their business.
the 9 to
into
5 working.
normal teenage stuff or young people things.
Yeah, like that. We learn later in the film she's like 26 years old,
Yeah.
the character. But no, so the first half, the first half doesn't go into that too deeply. It's there, but it's focusing more on their various schemes and their rent troubles.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's the part that they live right next to a bubble factory.
What is that factory making?
It's like, yeah, the sign on the thing says Bubbles Inc., right? And they live in this office building connected to the bubble factory.
It's like an abandoned office building.
Yeah, but on certain times in the day, bubbles,
Bleed into the walls of their apartment.
pink bubbles bleed into the wall. And
they know when this is going to happen, so they get buckets and they are there to clean it up.
And it's a 3-person job, and they each have their piece to get all the bubbles. And it's with an understanding of the landlord that they'll clean the bubbles out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, as you get deeper in the film, yes, you can get into this whole thing about the bubbles symbolizing the emotional eruption and tension that is brewing, say, in the daughter, the family. Like, you know, they're trying to contain this thing.
Yeah.
And they can't. You could dig in that. But
So
before
the daughter's name is Oldolio,
Oldolio.
which is really eccentric. And she is, from the get-go, is just miserable. But she's kind of robotically miserable, you know, in a sense. Like, she's just doing what she does.
Yeah, it's hard for her to speak. Like, it's even labored to speak, like, not physically. Like, even when people talk to her, you can tell she just can't even muster up things to say, her own thoughts.
So she's kind of been living this life within her parents' lives of what they want her to do and what she's doing, and she's stealing, and it's just not this. So from the get-go, it becomes, from the very beginning, it really becomes a mother, like her awakening of like, whoa, maybe I was never nurtured, or maybe I was never.
That's what I mean. That stuff comes definitely in the second half of the film.
Second half,
They
maybe.
hint at things, but like the first half, that's what I meant. It just sets up all these things. The bubble factory, the owner of the bubble factory can't hold back his emotions, and he's overly emotional, right?
He is, yeah.
And he cries at anything, right?
They take advantage of that.
And again, as you see the movie, you see, oh, he's the direct opposite of of this family who bottle all their emotions, who don't let any emotion out. The mother even says to the daughter, Old Dolio, at one point, you don't know what tender feelings are, right?
Yeah.
And the bubble guy, he's only has tender feelings. So you see all the things the director Miranda July and writer is doing, but just that first half, it almost seems like a silly movie.
It seems overly quirky.
Yeah, like for the sake of being quirky. Like, oh.
It does.
But I'll get with you, as it moves into the second half, I started liking it more and more.
Yeah, because at one point she goes to this class, or I don't know if that's the first sign of it, but eventually she starts thinking about how maybe she wasn't nurtured by her mother. And
well, she realized when she goes...
what is normal? And, she's like questioning all these things as people do. So she goes to this class for someone who's going to pay her $20 to take this like parenting class that she's legally obligated to take.
It's called positive parenting. Mm-hmm. It's for expectant mothers.
So she does it, and instead
but somebody
of
doesn't want to go, so she goes for somebody else, and they pay her $20 to go.
Instead of just getting the signature and leaving, she ends up having to stay, and she watches this video that's very like kind of traumatizing to her, of like the infant being born and crawling up the mother's chest and being next to the breast and whatnot, and this like instinctive behavior of infants, and she's wondering, did I do this?
Or did my mother do this to me, to my parents?
Did my mother do this? Did my mother let me crawl up her chest? Or was I put on the cot?
Yeah.
Was I just taken away and put on the cot? And does this have anything to do with the reason why basically she's feeling very like unloved or just, unattached from her parents?
Yeah.
Basically.
No,
right?
as the movie unravels, you learn that's what it's about. But you do have to get past Evan Rachel Wood's or Old Dolio, the character, who even learned later, which is kind of funny, that her parents named her Old Dolio after a homeless bum that won the lottery. And they named her, when she was born, Old Dolio, hoping that the homeless millionaire now, when he died because he had cancer, would give her the money because they gave their child her name. It was like another, even her birth, she learns, was another scheme by the parents.
So even the parents, like everything in her life feels like everything the parents do is a scheme to get money.
Well, it's motivated, it's funny, like in Cruella, and no, this was not my shower thought, stay tuned. In Cruella, they keep, there's the running gag of the one character keeps saying, like, what's the angle, right?
Right.
What's our angle here? What's our angle? And everything in her life, in Kajillionaire, through her parents' eyes, has always been an angle. There's always been an angle.
Yeah.
No relationships are genuine. It's all
Nothing is about
scheming.
Feelings or family. And I thought it was especially touching when she was on the phone in the middle of the night and they had won a trip to New York or whatnot, like three tickets to New York, all expense paid, because of some sweepstakes or whatever they had entered. And she tried to talk her mom into, let's just you and me go for a girls' trip.
Yeah, mother-daughter, she says.
Wanting to do something like for the sake of doing something, not for the sake of getting something out of it.
Yeah, build a connection.
Money-wise. And her mom just couldn't
No, she's like,
understand
why would we do
that.
that?
Why would we do that?
And they cut to that same idea later, where they're scheming an elderly man on his deathbed,
Yes.
and all he wants to hear is the sounds of family and life happening in his home before he dies, so he can die, he can pass. He wants to hear those sounds, the clinking of dishes, people talking about their day,
what they did,
the TV on, etc. So the three of them, and they pick up this other woman along the way. They're in there just making those sounds of life for him because they're waiting for him to die so they can
steal his
checkbook or whatever they can get his hands on. But old Dolio
she's getting into it. She's like, my parents can be like this.
Yeah. She's seeing a glimpse of a life she never had. So it comes back to that same thing later on, too. And then again, it's lost on the parents again. Like they're just doing a scheme and playing a part.
So the other part of it is that they do pick up this woman along the way who's phenomenal.
Played by Gina Rodriguez.
I really like her role in this movie. At first, I couldn't figure out what the purpose of her role was at all, really.
Well, yeah.
But I knew it was going to develop, and it does develop. But
yeah, the parents latch on to her. Gina also, which they don't go super into it, but she's also has issues with her mother.
Yeah.
We never see her mother, but her mother.
She talks on the phone to her.
Her mother FaceTimes her continually, and then buys random things and sends them to her.
Right.
And so Gina, the character's name is Melanie, I think. She is somewhat annoyed at her mother and feels pestered and whatnot by her mom. But she latches on to this family because she's intrigued by their schemes and their things and becomes a part of it. Yeah.
It's not normal. She's excited by it. So,
and she's also the one that helps to start liberating old Dolio and kind of show, she's the outside influence, right? She starts showing her what tender feelings are, what it truly means to do something for somebody other than being motivated by some other factor.
Well, she's also kind of the outside eye into their dynamic between the parents and the child that maybe they've not had before. That someone else to say, do your parents really love you? They're using you. They're, kind of pointing it out to her and being the outside eye to it.
Yeah. And so all the stuff's in here. And all that starts, like I said, this is the film. I think I always kind of look at, I have an account on letterboxd.com. I always look at, after we see it, what people say about these films. And one particular review, which I thought was pretty spot on, said this is a film that gets better every scene. And I think that's true for this movie. It's a movie that every scene is better than the last. Mm-hmm. And every scene propels the story forward, like it should, but opens up a depth into this film that wasn't there 5 minutes ago. So it is a movie that slowly worms its way into a more deepful, thoughtful film.
Yeah.
But
and to be more interesting and deep.
Yeah. But I do feel that sort of first 30, 45 minutes was a bit whatever for me. But as it got better, I liked it more and more.
I loved the character of Melanie because she questioned. She was she questioned the authenticity of the family, and I just like that. And she made old Dolio kind of look at her parents in a different way, which some people, you need that,
Well, that was that, and I think that was the point of the film too. There's some scenes in here that I think mirror experiences in life that I think most people. It's one of those things. I saw this written as a review somewhere too. This is the type of film that no one can relate to, but yet everyone can relate to elements of this film. Like,
I can definitely relate
no,
to
that's
this
what I'm
film.
saying. You're no one. I think there's a few small percentage of people that can relate to this con artist, scheming, grifter type family.
I can't relate to that aspect of
But
it.
can most people relate to some sort of issues of
Dependency on your parents.
on your parents, on your parents' dependency on you, just relationships in general with people, letting that guard down, having patience with someone in a relationship or getting to know someone,
Trust.
to understand like the baggage or just that kind of emotional baggage they bring with things, with issues. And yeah, and I thought at the end of the day, this film revealed itself to be a movie about understanding yourself and one's parents, right?
Yeah.
But understanding the way people are, and that struggle between trying to change people, right? And into seeing you for who you are and what you really care about versus your acceptance
Right.
of them
Of who they are.
and who they are, and whether or not they will accept you for who you are. And again, that was Cruella.
Yes, I know. It's weird that we saw like these two very parallel movies on the same day, but didn't even realize they were going to be parallel. And it was awesome. A lot of mommy issues, a lot of parent issue movies, but I loved Kajillionaire. Like,
So, yeah.
I loved how it developed. I don't want to tell the
I know.
ending, but
We
loved the...
We stopped to get like a drink or water or something, pause the movie at home, and you're like, I'm loving this movie. I'm like, really?
Yes. I loved it, and I loved how it ended. I loved how it developed. I loved everything about this movie.
Wow. Oh, I was saying, as
It's
I said
one
earlier,
of my favorite movies I've seen in a
I
long
know
time.
you keep saying that's crazy.
I do.
The only thing I was saying earlier about Oldolio, the main character girl, is you do have, again, the more extreme eccentricness of it all. Because I feel it's distracting. You have to get past the fact of her extremely long hair that's always in her eyes
You
and
want
face.
to cut it off. You want to put it back.
Her
You
low,
wanna...
her super low voice, her baggy tracksuit she wears.
But what I love about the fact that they never changed that, except for when they went to dinner.
Yeah, there's a
that
couple
one
scenes
night.
they adjust it.
I loved that because it made it so like in your face. Like it was annoying. Like her tracksuit was annoying. You know she's like a beautiful girl underneath. You know she's more than what she's presenting herself as. But it like puts it in your face that this is like how she was raised. This is who she is. This is how she's comfortable. Like this is not something you can just one day just
It's
snap
a person,
away.
yeah, and it's a person minus of any like identity, true identity, and
She doesn't have her own identity.
yeah. No, it's all there. Like I said, all of it's there. But even I feel you could get, like I said earlier, you could get deep and thoughtful about the soap coming through the walls and winding down, and kind of what that means.
Yeah.
The soap bubble shop owner who's super emotional. All of it. I think you could find.
Everything was really well done in the movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Just real thought out, symbolic.
The ongoing
you know.
tremors and earthquakes that are
Yes.
there. There's all these little things that happen. So I'm super happy we saw Kajillionaire as well.
I loved it. Did you like it?
I liked it. I didn't love
liked it.
I liked
You didn't
it.
love it as much as I
I didn't
did.
love it. Only because I didn't enjoy the first half.
I got you.
I didn't think it was bad. I was
did.
just.
I enjoyed the first half. I thought the first 5 to 8 minutes were a little like over the top quirky, but then once I like fell into the character of Oldolio, the quirkiness didn't bother me.
No, I'm not saying by the end I was really enjoying this thing.
Yeah.
And when I really liked it, but the second half a lot more. So I would definitely recommend people see it.
Absolutely, definitely.
I would definitely go watch Kajillionaire.
Kajillionaire?
Kajillionaire.
Yeah.
I'd
For
recommend
sure.
it.
I'd recommend Cruella as well.
I'd highly recommend it over a lot of other movies we've talked about. Go watch Kajillionaire. It will be a fun night for you.
I would place it next to all the other movies you've recommended. Like, I wouldn't say, like Killing of Two Lovers. See that before you see Kajillionaire.
Oh, yeah. For
But
sure.
it's way ahead of the ones that we were like, oh, Stowaway, I don't know, Woman in the Window.
Stowaway, Woman in the Window. See Kajillionaire first.
Yeah, of course.
But see Killing of Two Lovers before.
And we keep coming back to that one, too. All right, so let's wrap this up. This is our
Okay.
issue.
We got
It's calmed
it.
down a little bit here in Troubled Waters.
A little bit. We're a little calmer here.
You start podcasting,
It's a fun place.
and it clears the bar quick.
Yeah, it does. I know. People get scared of the podcast and they start getting away from us. But,
So, okay. Well,
All right.
who knows where we'll end up next? My Dr. Pepper is empty, but your mango habanero is still halfway
Cheers.
there.
Ready?
It's a good
All
sound.
right.
All right, until next time we watch the movie. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.